All right, let's start today with something simple. Just take a look at your hands right now.
Okay.
Are they often cold? Even when it's not particularly chilly out?
Hmm.
Or maybe you get that weird tingling? Or they feel numb sometimes for no obvious reason?
Yeah, that pins and needles feeling.
Exactly. Or maybe they just look a bit pale sometimes.
Yeah.
It's easy to just brush that stuff off, right? Think, oh, that's just me. That's how my body is.
Sure, people often do.
But what if those little things? What if they're actually signals, early messages from your body about something deeper?
Like whispers almost.
Yeah, whispers about how well your blood is flowing, your circulation, and that connects directly to your heart health. It's kind of amazing what our hands might be telling us.
And that's exactly what we want to dive into today. We're going to unpack those signals your hands might be sending
Okay.
and figure out what they actually mean for your circulatory system,
Yeah.
which is essentially your body's vital delivery network.
A delivery network, I like that.
Yeah, it's moving that crucial oxygen-rich blood from your heart out to every single part of you, every cell, tissue, especially the hands and feet, the extremities.
Right, the furthest points on the delivery route.
Exactly. And understanding these signals, it helps you tune into what your body's trying to tell you. It's a feedback loop.
That delivery service idea really hits home. When it's working well, your hands feel, I don't know, warm, alive, right?
Responsive.
But if there's a problem, like a slowdown somewhere in the system,
Bottleneck, maybe.
yeah, a bottleneck, then our hands, because they're way out there and have all those tiny vessels, they often show the first signs, the first alerts.
That's what's so fascinating. The hands really act like an early warning system.
Okay.
They have this incredibly dense network of tiny blood vessels, nerve endings.
Mm-hmm.
It makes them super sensitive barometers for what's happening inside.
So they feel it first.
Often, yes. They can show signs of reduced blood flow, sometimes long before you notice bigger problems elsewhere.
So, okay, if our hands are these sensitive barometers, what specific signs should we really be looking out for? How do we know it's not just, being cold for a minute?
Well, a big one is persistently cold fingers. We all get cold sometimes, obviously.
Sure.
But if your fingers are just always cold, even when you feel warm otherwise,
Yeah.
or maybe one hand feels way colder than the other,
Okay.
that could be your body kind of whispering, hey, blood flow's down here. It might be linked to things like peripheral artery disease, where arteries get narrower.
Right, restricting the flow to the hands and feet.
Exactly. Less oxygenated blood getting through.
And you mentioned tingling earlier, that pins and needles, or hands just falling asleep randomly. What's that about?
Yeah, that numbness or tingling. That's often the nerves basically crying out for help.
Okay.
Nerves need a really good constant supply of oxygenated blood to work right. If circulation is iffy, they don't get enough oxygen. And that causes those weird, uncomfortable feelings. The delivery just isn't quite reaching the nerve cells effectively.
Makes sense. And I think you also touched on skin color being a clue.
Absolutely. That's a really visual one.
Yeah.
If your hands look strangely pale, or maybe they have a slightly bluish tint,
Bluish? Where?
usually around the fingernails or maybe the fingertips, that's a very clear sign that oxygen-rich blood isn't getting there properly.
Wow.
It means the hemoglobin, the stuff that carries oxygen and makes blood red, isn't circulating well in those spots.
Okay, that's a definite visual cue. And then there's something maybe more concerning, like cuts or scrapes taking forever to heal.
Yes, slow healing is another really critical sign. Blood doesn't just carry oxygen.
Right, nutrients too.
Exactly. Nutrients, immune cells, all the factors needed for healing. If circulation is poor, that whole repair crew can't get to the injury site efficiently.
So healing takes longer.
Much longer. And it seriously increases the risk of infection, too.
That makes sense. And one more visual sign, sometimes hands can look puffy, swollen.
Yes, swelling or edema in the hands. That can definitely be caused by fluid building up. And that's often linked back to how well the circulatory system is working, or even broader heart function.
How so?
Well, if your heart isn't pumping blood as effectively as it should, or if the veins aren't returning blood efficiently, fluid can kind of pool in the tissues, like your hands.
So the whole fluid balance is off.
Exactly. The body's showing you that the internal plumbing, that intricate system, is a bit out of whack. And what's really key here, I think, is how these things that seem kind of minor, bit of coldness, some tingling, puffiness, they can be early warnings, often overlooked signs of something much bigger happening under the surface.
Okay, so we've got these signals. Coldness, tingling, color changes, slow healing, swelling. But why? What's actually causing the poor circulation in the first place? It doesn't just happen, right?
That's the crucial question. And no, it usually doesn't just happen on its own. Poor circulation is almost always a symptom.
A symptom of something else.
Yeah, a consequence of other underlying health issues. Some common culprits are things like high blood pressure.
Which puts strain on the arteries.
Constantly. Over time, it damages that delicate lining.
Hmm.
Then there's diabetes, which can make blood vessels stiff and narrow.
Right.
And of course, smoking is a huge one. It directly constricts blood vessels and damages vascular health pretty profoundly.
Okay, so high blood pressure, diabetes, smoking. What else?
Well, there's atherosclerosis. That sounds like a big word.
Yeah, what is that exactly?
Think of it like plaque or kind of like rust building up inside your arteries, your body's pipelines.
Ah, okay. Like a clogged pipe.
Exactly. It physically narrows the space for blood to flow. Then you've got things like blood clots, which can suddenly block flow.
Right, acutely.
Uh-huh. And even just living a very sedentary lifestyle, not moving much.
How does that affect it?
Well, movement helps pump blood around efficiently. If you're sitting all the time, that pumping action is reduced. So yeah, if your hands are regularly showing those signs we talked about,
Yeah.
it really is your body sending a clear message. Something needs attention, needs looking into.
Okay, that clarifies the why. But here's the hopeful part, right? It's not just about spotting problems. There are things we can actually do to improve circulation.
Absolutely. And this is the empowering part. There are very practical, natural strategies.
Good. Like what?
Staying physically active is probably number one.
Yeah.
Regular exercise strengthens your heart muscle, makes it a better pump,
Right.
and it encourages your body to grow new little blood vessels, collateral circulation.
Oh, interesting.
Also, managing your blood pressure is key. Diet, exercise, reducing stress. All that helps.
Makes sense.
And quitting smoking. If you smoke, stopping is probably the single most powerful thing you can do for your entire circulatory system. Just huge.
Can't emphasize that enough, I guess.
Definitely not. Staying well hydrated is important too. Make sure your blood isn't too thick, flows easily.
Simple but effective.
Yeah. And diet plays a role.
Mhm.
Eating heart healthy foods, things rich in antioxidants, omega-3s, and actually foods that boost nitric oxide.
Nitric oxide, like
Yeah.
beets and leafy greens.
Exactly. Nitric oxide helps your blood vessels relax and widen. So yeah, diet can directly help blood flow.
Wow, okay. Lots of actionable steps there.
There are. But ultimately, maybe the most crucial step, the one that ties it all together,
Yeah.
is just developing that deeper awareness, really listening to your body.
Tuning in.
Exactly. It's constantly sending signals, telling you what it needs, how it's doing. We just need to take the time to notice and, try to understand.
That's such a powerful way to look at it. Our hands, not just tools, but like these amazing little dashboards,
Yeah, dashboards. I like that.
giving us these constant, subtle readouts on our internal health, our circulation, our heart.
Uh-huh.
And if we understand those signals and we take those steps you mentioned to improve circulation,
Mhm.
really empowers us, leads to a stronger heart and hopefully a longer, healthier life.
Absolutely. Better circulation, better overall health. It's fundamental.
It really is.
And maybe this leaves you with a thought to ponder. If your hands can tell you so much, what other quiet signals might your body be sending you right now? About all sorts of things. What could you learn if you really took the time to listen, to understand its incredible wisdom?
That's a great question to end on. Something for all of us to think about. Keep that curiosity going.
Definitely. Stay curious about your own amazing biology.